All right, what's up, YouTube?
I'm recording. Everything's good.
Sweet.
Everything's good on my end.
Oh, let me get rid of that because we're getting
Check,
hot.
check. Uh-oh. I gotta close that.
Oh.
What's up, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing well.
YouTube,
Thanks
hi.
for checking out the podcast. By the way, I always say hi to the people that are like watching us live, but there's way more of you that watch the show later, and like that's your normal way of consuming this podcast. So hello to you. When I say YouTube, it's just clarification. It's all encompassing, but
Equally high.
yeah.
Really high.
All right. No, don't say before closing. Come on, Ashley, you can do it. I believe in you.
I
Does
don't
it
know
believe in
if it
itself?
can.
All right, there we go.
What is this? Hold on, get rid of that.
I feel like,
What are you doing?
why do I feel like my audio is quiet? Is my audio quiet? Hang on, let me pull up. the
Not to
stream
me,
on the-
Yeah, feels fine.
Okay.
but that's not what's important.
Let me see what it sounds like real quick.
Okay.
All right. Johnny, say something interesting.
Ooh.
Well, earlier today while I was weed whacking, I wear glasses when I weed whack because I'm terrified. If you don't know me, eyes really bother me. Anything with eyes, I don't want anything in the eye, which has been great because Archer's had have to put drops in his eye last 10 days
Ooh.
because he has spring allergies apparently. So just like me. But I'm also terrified of ticks, and so whenever I go weed whacking, I am terrified always that I'm gonna have a million ticks on me.
I
And
get
if
that.
you weed whack, you also understand that there are grass clippings and dirt clippings getting all over your person. So there's nothing more relieving to me than the shower after mowing and weed whacking.
Was that your other workout?
Yes,
Okay, good. Because YouTube, you're getting a little sneak peek here. Johnny
it's
and
totally deserved.
Oh yes, no arguments here. Johnny and I played pickleball, and I'm worn out. And then I saw on my
I'm
Apple
still worn
Watch
out.
that Johnny burned like another 1,000 calories. I'm like, what the heck? And then that explains it. And yes,
It
that
had to
is-
get done.
Oh yeah, no, mine's bad.
But I'm not gonna lie. After I mowed, my backyard is fairly large for just me living here, and I do not have a riding mower. So, but the mowing's honestly not the worst part. It's weed whacking the fence line for the whole thing because it's all fence. So that is always a good time. And the thought that I have probably 8 ticks on me, which I definitely don't. The grass does not get that long, but terrifying. I've had
Yeah.
4 ticks on me before. So one time, Winsett tick was on me. I was young. I did not realize that you could just take tweezers and pull it off. I thought you had to kill it first,
oh,
and I thought you killed it with fire.
Mhm.
But this
Oh.
thing's on my thigh.
Mm-hmm.
So I light a match and try to burn this thing off me. So I have a scar on my thigh
No way.
from trying to burn this tick off of my thigh.
Wow.
I eventually killed it probably 4 or 5 matches in. And then, of course, it's still attached. So I still had to pry it off with said tweezers.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Wow.
So I have a little burn mark. I promise it's not like a cigarette mark. It's just me trying to burn a tick off of my thigh.
Wow. That's pretty good. All right.
There's your interesting.
That's amazing.
stories
That was
for
a
the
great
day.
audio test. YouTube, this is what you get by listening to the podcast this way. You're welcome. All right. I'm going to hit record. I am good audio wise.
I think I'm okay audio wise.
I'm
Check,
good.
check. Yep, I'm good.
Archer, you gotta stop with the squeaky toy though, buddy.
It's so fun though.
Can you hear it? I'm sure you
Yeah, I
can. Hear
can.
it. Can we swap that toy for a different toy? Give me 5 seconds.
You're good.
No,
I'll get us started.
This is the intro.
Toys.
Yeah, this is the intro. Welcome to the show. Johnny is currently trying to convince his dog Archer to switch out a squeaky toy for a non-squeaky toy. While he's doing that, Josh, what's up, man? How's your
I'm
week going?
doing great. I'm doing great. We had a beautiful week in Dallas. We had the Stars clinch a playoff division.
Yeah.
We had the Mavs take I'm blanking on everything, but they took whatever division they are in the West.
Oh yeah, they probably grabbed the division. That's the weird thing. Like the NBA doesn't really care about that stuff usually.
I'm
I mean,
like,
they'll post on
it-
social media like, "Hey, we won the
Yeah.
division." Good
Not
for
anymore.
you. Yeah,
Yes.
good for you.
Luca,
NHL
I
playoff
think, is-
bracket's so whack though.
Oh,
With
yeah.
like all the
Yeah, Luca, I think, was
always
the
throws me off.
regular season scoring leader for the league, which was
Yeah.
fun.
Yep.
So it's been a good week for Dallas sports.
Good. That's good.
Except for the I do have a straight to jail, and I
Oh.
know we do him like I feel like we send him to jail every 2.5 weeks. But I got to send Angel Hernandez to jail again
Mm-hmm.
for those
Oh my.
awful strike calls.
Yeah.
When a catcher has to stand up and walk 3 steps over to the right in order to catch the ball, I personally believe that should be called a ball.
Mm-hmm.
What do I know?
If you're good
I'm
at
just a guy
framing
with-
those
I'm just-
pitches with Angel
I'm
Hernandez,
just a guy.
man,
I'm just a guy
my.
with 2 eyes. So
you
what do
just
I
have to
know?
be good. Just have to be good at framing those pitches.
At that point, I realize it's opposite where my body is. I'm fully committing to getting hit by that. If that's what I have to do, and then I'm going to dare him. I'm going to dare him to call me on that.
Well,
You're explaining how I got on base, Josh, playing up until like 6th grade.
Hmm.
Just getting hit.
Oh no, I know.
Well, speaking of
I
that, did
remember.
you see the overlay of Anthony Rizzo in the left-handed batter's box versus where those pitch and spoiler alert, Rizzo would just get drilled in the kneecap 3 straight times. So that's how that goes.
It's just a time.
Yeah. Well,
I
I'm
want-
with you.
I
Hey,
so
the
desperately-
punishment fits the
Start the
crime on
podcast.
that.
I so desperately want to keep umps in baseball. Like I
Mhm.
want some of the traditional things. Like I realize we can go to robo umps really easily, but I want to keep some of that tradition here. And you have to. They are not doing anything to help the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, but I think to be fair, we're
Yes.
picking out the worst umpire.
Oh yeah, of course.
And this is also where like Major League Baseball and probably the like equivalent, I don't know if it's called the umpire association, like whatever their union is, I'm sure there's a union. Like that's where they're doing themselves no favors either. Because like Aaron, I remember you showed me the like chart for Angel Hernandez. And
Yep.
then you showed me the chart of the guy who had the best day. And he was like nearly perfect.
Yeah.
He was off on like 1 pitch. And so like also knowing that like, now that's not fair to expect that either. But if you're missing a handful of pitches total for the whole game, most days, that's fine. That's fine. So it's also like we are cherry picking a little bit with like the very worst umpire. And we always do this. We do this in all sports with referees and officials too. So it's like, okay.
No, every ref's the worst ref. Every
Right. So
call
they're all
is, like,
terrible.
everyone's
it's like,
corrupt.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. Like, yes, he's bad. He should have been gone a long time ago. But I see that as a separate issue then. We should go to robo-umps. Maybe it should just be easier to replace umpires
I
and
think.
get some younger
Hey,
fresh
there's a
blood
thought.
in there.
Yep.
You know,
Two
you,
eyes.
you know, like there's steps
Depth perception.
before
Right.
let's go straight to robots.
Exactly.
And baseball is the one sport though that I do kind of get it because
Yeah.
it is a little bit more sedentary. I mean, we literally watch on television and we know if it's a ball or strike.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not we think we know. So it's the only sport really, other than like offsides, that is just cut and dry. No room for offsides is assuming it's not CONCACAF and you actually have proper camera work and everything. But
Yeah, you know.
yes.
You have something you want to get off? You want to have a straight to jail as well?
It's not, honestly, Josh. I'm used to it at this point, so it's not even like a straight to jail. We just live in the jail. We're all prisoners of CONCACAF.
Wow.
And
That's
we,
deep.
we still live here because the crew are still hanging out in
Yes.
this tournament, which is good.
Doing okay.
Which is good. They just announced their
We'll take penalties. Yeah.
game times.
Team USA. US is hosting the next World Cup. They can't get CONCACAF, at least as
Ha.
a country.
Yep.
Next,
Infinite money glitch.
Get ready to learn
Oh.
CONCACAF, buddy.
Oh, get ready to learn New Jersey world.
Yeah.
Get ready to get arrested for walking across the highway.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait until the Europeans try to walk somewhere.
Oh my. Yeah, other than CONCACAF, Johnny, what's your week been like?
Did we start the podcast
Yeah.
Yep.
a long time ago?
Yep.
Long time ago.
Okay. Okay, cool. That's probably good. I probably talk better when I don't think we're recording. We lost. Did I talk about this last week? We lost a tragic soccer game.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Oh man.
hit us
So
with it.
just, that's why everybody tunes in, right? To the podcast.
Yeah.
They want to know how
Your coaching career.
my 11 and 12-year-old girls are doing on that team. We only had one sub in this game.
Ooh.
So really trying to manage the roster, and we were up 2-0 in the first half, 2-1 at halftime, 2-2. Then we went up 3-2, long strike from outside the box, and we gave up 2 goals in the last 5 minutes to lose 4-3. And it was a bit of a gut wrencher. Beautiful day. The girls played great. Ran out of gas there at the end. I am not a believer in parking the bus, if you will, and going into a turtle shell, but definitely should have done that in the last 15 minutes when we were up 3-2 and everybody was tired. So that's one on the coach, but we'll learn and go forward. That's how my week's been, other than the beautiful weather. So
Yeah, it's been nice. I'm sunburnt already. It's great.
Beautiful.
It's too hot, actually. I'm here.
Here's
I'm
how
here
my
to
week went.
complain.
I totally forgot to tell you. This can't be a thing that I'm following. You guys are just going to appreciate this too much for it to be relegated to the last third of our show.
Right.
I got with a friend's one of the hardest burgers to get in America
Oh.
this past Saturday. Spur of the moment decision. It's called Boots Burger. It's about 35 minutes north of where I live in Dallas. It's open from 11 a.m. to whenever they run out of meat, which is usually about 2
man,
hours
I love
later.
those places.
It's
2
run-
hours?
Just about. And I'll tell you why. Two big
gosh.
factors. Backstory, first off, the guy has been doing this since 1968. He runs it out of his house. It's for about 2 hours because he makes the burgers on his lunch break.
Yes.
So I went to
Bless
a
this
guy's
man.
house in
Oh my
a neighborhood
gosh.
in Rockwall, Texas. It is just him. He got grandfathered in to like some new zoning law, so he shouldn't be allowed to do this, but it's Texas, so he's
Right.
allowed. And so I went up to. He's kind of made a little bit.
Everyone
of a,
should be allowed to do this.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
He's
Everybody
kind
should
of-
be able to make their
he's
house a
converted
restaurant.
his garage, so like you just go up to the side and go. I would like a double meat, double cheese, with some. Doesn't matter. He's gonna make it the way he makes it. $8 cash only. There's an old 60s vending machine to the side, 75 cents for a soda,
Oh,
$1.25
wait.
for a bag of chips,
Josh, only 65 cents?
75.
Oh, I was going to say, it's like camp. Does it give you a
Right.
random root beer in addition sometimes?
It does break every now and then.
Yes.
And my friend went to go get a soda and it didn't work. And the guy just like came out of his house, like banged on the machine, just shoved quarters into it until it kind of reset. He's like, it should work now. I'm like, this is
Oh,
brilliant.
this thing's, the
Wow.
vibes are
It
immaculate.
took about 20. We were number 4 and 5 in line, my friend and I. It took about 20 to 25 minutes to get our burgers because it's, again, just the guy making it. And so maybe another 10 people came to order food after us. And as I was getting my food, like customer number 11 comes in. Like, again, this is 20 minutes later. And the owner says, hey, man, just to let you know, it'll be about another hour and 45 minutes Like
Wow.
he probably served 30 people max that day. On a
Crazy.
beautiful
Just his
Saturday
lunch
morning.
break.
That's
It was his lunch
insane.
break, exactly.
And it's just him.
It was
That's
beautiful.
crazy.
Great burger. Like
Now, to
It
go
was a
back to the
fantastic
comment
time.
that Johnny said about the vending machine at camp, I actually
Yes.
think that deserves its own story.
Yes.
Because we all went to the same summer camp through Boy Scouts for a couple years, and there was this vending machine that was not 75 cents. For whatever reason, I don't understand, it was 65 cents. So you couldn't just bring your bag of quarters. You had to have some dimes, some nickels in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I swear that thing taught us gambling at the ripe old age
Oh,
of
yeah.
13.
Beautiful.
Because maybe you wanted a Mountain Dew Code Red. That was, that's like peak middle school for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you'd put your specific change in, because I don't think it gave you back change. There's no way.
No, you had to have exactly
Yeah.
65 cents.
And
Yeah.
you'd aim for a Code Red, and you know what? Most of the time you'd get it, but sometimes you got a root beer. Sometimes instead, sometimes the root beer just was complimentary with your Code Red Mountain
Tipped in
Dew.
root beer.
That too.
Chips and root beer.
Yep. But I
The
mean, I'm telling you,
FanDuel-
that
the
thing taught you to
FanDuel
gamble.
line
Sometimes it
on
gave you
this.
nothing at all. It
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
You got
nothing.
nothing sometimes. The
Yeah.
worst.
We'd be setting,
Sometimes I gotta-
3 or 4 like parlays of just like what the sequence would be, regardless of what buttons you
Oh,
hit.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
There was a line basically to watch people get something from that vending machine. And you could have gone into the store and like bought
True.
like a
That's
soda.
boring.
Nobody wanted
And I
to
could
do
also
that.
invest in the stock market. Yeah, we're throwing out really boring,
Uh-huh.
responsible options.
exactly.
I want the mystery machine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Man, I missed
So
that thing.
good.
Anyways, I thought
Man.
that was, since
How
we were
much are they?
talking
Hold
about
on.
random old vending
What
machines.
I'm following is going to be the cost of a vending machine. So
Yeah.
we'll save that for later.
I want
We'll
that
we'll
specific
DM
one,
shoot
though,
a DM
Josh.
to our good friend DJ Burns, see what his expenses are for his vending machine company. My week was good as well. We mentioned the nice weather. Johnny and I took advantage of the nice weather, and we were 2 of the 80,012 people that attended the Ohio State spring game on Saturday. So that was a lot of fun. It was the most, per usual, it was the highest attended spring game of the many that were played on Saturday. There's still some in the next 2 weeks. Like I know Michigan is also on Fox, but there's no way they're getting 80,000 people there. So it's pretty wild. I mean, there's nothing, no hype is quite like Ohio State Buckeye football hype. And for good reason. There's a lot of reasons why the hype is maybe even on another level. You've got 5 stars galore. You've got the top overall recruit in the country. You've got a 5-way quarterback battle. There's a lot to kind of unpack, and this show was not the place for it. We've got, unfortunately, 5 months until we can really dive deep into this. It's worth noting the spring transfer portal window opens tomorrow. So if you are a college football junkie like us, tomorrow could be a big news day. Especially because there's already some people that we know are on their way out the door. I mean, Ohio State's an example. Dallin Hayden, we know he's going to transfer running back. It's just a matter of where, but because he's as talented as he is, he probably becomes running back 1 wherever he's going. So that's something to watch, but it was a great time. Johnny, felt better watching it this year than last year. We were talking about this at the game, and you can read too much into a spring game because at the end of the day, it is just a practice 5 months before the season. But when we went last year, there were 3 observations that we kind of independently made. Even my wife, who's pretty into football as well, even thought the same thing. Number 1, quarterback play looked shaky. Number 2, offensive line looked not great. And number 3, the defense looks solid. And maybe it was just coincidence. Maybe it was because that was actually a sign of things to come. But all 3 of those things, that's how the season played out for Ohio State. I didn't have as concrete of issues this year, I felt. I thought the secondary looked incredible. That's probably my biggest takeaway. But curious what you thought, because we had the chance to actually hang out in Ohio Stadium, which is always a good time.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. 80,000 people there, first time on national television.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Always a good time to be there. This year, again, what Aaron said, they also pulled Will Howard and Devin Brown pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The reality is it's probably one of the 2 of them. it's hard also to judge. That defense is supposed to be so good this year. They have everybody back except their linebackers, and they added Caleb Downs to it. Are the quarterbacks kind of struggling right now because the defense is so good? And the wide receiver room is as young as it has been. Talented, but as young as it has been in a long time. They're only going to get better for that in the long run. But in a scrimmage, they might look poor at times. And that might be because the scrimmage actually is tougher than some of the games that they will play. And I do fully believe that when it comes to Ohio State's offense facing the defense this year. So offensive line is still a question, but they didn't look remotely as shaky this year. And every single quarterback on the roster this year is a dual threat, which does alleviate some of that offensive line issue where McCord just wasn't that way. And we have Chip Kelly in too. So, this is going to be a lot more of 30 plus runs and a lot less of 40 plus passing attempts. No matter who the quarterback is. So I'm fascinated to watch this team. Unfortunately, the Buckeyes don't have anybody early in the season, but once they get to Michigan State and Iowa, just to see, all right, what does this Chip Kelly offense really look like? And I mean, Will Howard's my guy. I want the best player to play at quarterback, but I think it'll be Will. See what he can do.
I think so too. Should be good. By the way, we've got some breaking news. Team USA is finalizing 11 of the 12 members who will be participating on the basketball team for the men's side in the Olympics. We've got LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum, Devin Booker, Drew Holiday, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, Bam Adebayo, and Tyrese Halliburton. I want to be really cocky and say, just give us the gold medal right this instant. But I am also recognizing that the world comparatively has gotten much better at basketball in the last few years. So this might age poorly, but we're winning it. The whole thing. Give it to us.
They should. They have no excuse.
There's literally no reason. There's no reason the game should even be close with this roster. I mean, this is wild. So I'm excited for that. But it's a poor segue into kind of what we're talking about previewing for this upcoming week. It is the NBA postseason. It is here. We have, at least as we are recording on a Monday night, we've got games happening tomorrow for the play-in tournament. But if you have been living under a rock, let me just quickly break down how everything works over the next couple weeks. So you've got the Eastern Western Conference. Obviously, the bracket is split up there. The play-in games, these are happening Tuesday and Wednesday. The 7 and 8 seeds play one another, not the 7, 10, 8, 9 matchups like you might see in March Madness. No, the 7 and 8 seeds play each other, as do the 9 and 10. The winner of the 7-8 matchup, so let's take the East, for example. We've got Philadelphia hosting the 8 seed Miami Heat. Whichever team wins that game becomes the 7 seed, and the loser is in trouble, but not out yet. So that game will happen first. Then the 9 and 10 seeds will play. The winner moves on to the next round. The loser is just out. So that in the East is the 9-seeded Chicago Bulls hosting the 10th-seeded Atlanta Hawks. So let's say the 76ers beat the Heat and the Bulls beat the Atlanta Hawks. So the Hawks are out. We're not worried about them. The Sixers, in this case, they become the 7 seed, and we're left with the Heat and the Chicago Bulls. Those two teams will play one last game in the play-in tournament. The winner becomes the 8 seed. The loser is eliminated. So that's how this all works. I know we're now several years into this system, but it's a little confusing in case you're a little unfamiliar. So that's how this thing works. Everybody else, we kind of know what seed they're going to be. We'll talk about Josh's number 5 seeded Dallas Mavericks here. But overall, I think the story of this postseason is going to be, can anyone actually beat the Celtics? And can anyone actually beat the defending champion, the Denver Nuggets? Vegas basically is saying that no, it's not going to happen. Because Boston's like plus 160. I think Denver I saw is like plus 250. And then I think everyone else is almost plus 1,000 or worse. So Vegas really, really thinks, and we'll talk about this when we get to our picks. We may think the same thing here. It's Celtics Nuggets, and you can almost, I mean, sure, the basketball will be good in the next month or so, but might as well just fast forward to the finals. We'll see if that's true. We'll find out. And also injuries. That's you never know.
Always,
You never know.
always part of the storyline.
So with that in mind, of any of these teams that are the top seed, is there one that jumps out to you that you're a little worried about? Maybe a first round exit, maybe getting bounced in the conference semifinals. I know the Milwaukee Bucks probably fit in this category a little bit because of the injury concerns with Giannis, but is there anyone at the top here that you're thinking, I don't think I trust you?
I mean, to start off with the whole Boston-Denver dynamic,
Mm-hmm.
they both are beatable. But I think the issue is picking the team to do it. There is no clear contender for either of those teams in either conference, but I actually do think they're both beatable, especially if any number of one of their players rolls an ankle and is out a game or two in a series. Like, it can happen. Now, I also say that because if you were to just take the seed lines as is currently constructed, which is not usually how the play-in tournament happens, you have the 8 seed Miami playing Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not necessarily saying like, hey, Miami's definitely beating them. That's the worst possible 8 seed matchup for Boston ever.
You think more than Philadelphia?
Oh, yeah. Because Miami's everything Boston isn't. Boston's young. Boston's deep. Boston hypothetically should be hungrier than the Heat. Miami's old. They're lethargic. But you know what? Miami's also confident. They also know what they're doing. There is no doubt in the Heat when it comes down to the last few minutes of a game, who's getting the shot, what sets to run. There's no lacking of confidence with Jimmy Butler and those guys down there in Miami. Boston still has that, fair or not. And this isn't, some storylines like this are media created. I think this one's actually real with Boston. In the playoffs, not regular season, in the playoffs, when it's tight, the guy who should be taking the shot, and it's not even about whether he makes it or not, the guy who should be taking the shot and wants to take the shot should be Jason Tatum. Oftentimes it's not, though. And that's a big problem. And so I think for me with the Celtics, the question is, does that rear its ugly head early facing Miami, which is actually probably in the long run could be the best possible thing for the Celtics in a way, in a team that they're vastly superior to, that they can overcome and almost learn? Or does it not hit until they're playing someone like Denver in the finals? And it goes kind of like it did with Golden State, and they kind of fall by the wayside. So it's just, that's an interesting storyline with Boston for me. And I'm not saying that happens in the first round or two, but when it happens, because they're not just going to win the NBA finals, only, sweeping everyone. When that happens in those games, I will be extremely interested, even if they're playing Orlando or Cleveland in the second round and they're already up 2-0 on the series. What if it's a close game? It's in Orlando or it's in Cleveland, game 3. You have a chance to end the series by hitting a couple buckets in the last couple minutes. Can Jason Tatum do it? It's not that he can't, he hasn't. So
yep.
I'm very, very intrigued to just watch almost like the mental warfare, psychological warfare for the Celtics, because there's no reason that they shouldn't at least be in the finals. You lose to Denver, fine, but there's no reason that they shouldn't be in the finals this year. And Vegas agrees, like you said, Aaron.
They do. I don't know if I agree that the Boston Celtics would rather face Philadelphia than Miami. Now, they've had ridiculous success against the Sixers. You just put the two teams on the court together and the Sixers just wilt. However, I don't think this Miami Heat team is the same team, certainly not from last year, but the same team that's capable of making this kind of run. And maybe this will be, maybe they'll make me eat my words, and you know what? If they do, good for them. I am trying to find who their playoff heroes are going to be. And that's a bad pun. I don't mean it to be Tyler Hero. I mean, Gabe Vincent just losing his mind. He's not on the team. Max Strus losing his mind. He's not on the team. Where is that coming from this year on this team? You've got Jamie Jaquez. He's been really good for a lot of the season. Tyler Hero is literally leading them in points, and he was injured for basically all of the postseason last year. And obviously Jimmy Buckets does Jimmy Bucket things in the postseason. However, whatever you think of Joel Embiid and whatever you think of his postseason performance, when he was with the Sixers, they were a top 4 team in the East, and he's back. And he's played decent minutes for them coming back. And he's scoring a decent amount of points. He's played 5 games since he's returned from injury. His first game, 24 points, then 29 points, then 30, then 37, and then his final regular season game was against the Orlando Magic, where he put up 32 points, 13 rebounds. I do think that his game is a little gimmicky in terms of the postseason. He's not going to go to the free throw line 20 times like he does sometimes in the regular season. It's just not going to happen. We've seen him struggle in the postseason. However, I can't ignore the fact that he's a top 3 center in the league and he's back. I think in a perfect world, the Celtics do not want to match up with him. In a perfect world. Now, am I really that worried about the Celtics playing either the Heat or the Sixers? I'm not. That team is ridiculously deep. They made some crucial offseason moves, bringing in Drew Holiday, bringing in Kristaps, to name just a couple. They are deep. They are talented. They are experienced. They haven't won a championship, but they've at least made a finals in recent memory. And obviously Drew Holiday has that championship experience. So, I mean, I have a hard time seeing the Celtics getting knocked out early. I have a hard time seeing the Nuggets getting knocked out early. I could potentially see like the Timberwolves, who, 1 through 3 in the West, that was basically all a tie. They were literally tied going into the last game of the regular season. So it's not like your traditional 3 seed, but I could see them lose. New York could lose to Miami. Who knows? They don't have Julius Randle. So I
don't think Jalen Brunson will allow it.
I hope not. I love that guy.
After the first round, I think the Knicks are super vulnerable, but I feel like in the first round although at the same time, like if you're New York, Aaron, like you're saying, like you get like, I actually think New York, because losing like Julius Randle, not that he's the one who'd necessarily be guarding Joel the whole time, but it's one more depth piece there that will clog up the lane. I actually think that's a really rough matchup for them.
Sure.
They'd probably rather have anyone else, but like, especially if Giannis is not back, or you're playing a really young Indiana, like New York could win that next round matchup too.
Yeah.
I think actually the Thunder could lose.
Round 1, or are you talking
the Lakers?
Okay.
But I think they can lose in the first round.
Okay.
The whole series. I think the Thunder could lose to the Lakers or the Kings. I think they beat the Warriors. The Warriors they're a shell of themselves at this point. And also with the Lakers, obviously, I'm assuming Anthony Davis is able to play the entire series and be healthy enough to do so. If he's not, then obviously completely different story.
Yeah.
But if it's the Lakers or Kings facing Oklahoma City, now I don't think the Lakers or Kings, the Kings because of their injuries and the Lakers because of their age, I don't think they're going to make a run to the finals, but I think they could beat the Thunder in a 1-round best of 7 series in the first round. I think that's more than possible. And that's not an indictment on OKC. They are so far ahead of schedule to be the 1 seed.
Yeah.
They are easily the youngest team in this playoff. It would be disappointing, but I still don't even think they would deem the season as a failure if you're a Thunder fan and you lost to the Lakers. Like that would stink at this point, but that's after you recalibrated. When the season started, if you said, hey, we made the playoffs and we lost in the first round, I think every Thunder fan would have been like, all right, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, and then Minnesota and Phoenix, I think, is a fascinating series.
Yeah.
I actually really don't know what I'm going to see there. I don't have a strong take either way.
Yeah.
Phoenix is just as rough as I kind of expected them to be. But
yeah, we all
also
kind of hit
so much talent.
A round of applause to us for pretty much hitting the nail on the head when it came to the Suns this year.
Good job, everyone.
We got receipts.
Everybody else, they're going to be amazing.
No. It's Brooklyn
Super
all
teams
over again.
like that don't work.
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
They do not.
I thought we talked about this last year.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
I do think we're going to get Boston, Denver, and maybe it's that straightforward. However, I think this discussion has brought up the point that all the other series could be wild. could be really wild. One is kind of a I'm not going to say rivalry. Well, Josh, maybe you can speak to this more than I can. Let's just say there's been some bad blood between the Mavericks and Clippers. They've had playoff series in the past, and they're running it back again this year. The Clippers are the 4 seed. The Mavericks are the 5 seed. Can Kyrie and Luka do it? I think that's the question.
Here's the thing. Yes, and they will. Longer answer.
Okay.
In the past 20 games, so since, I don't know, mid to early March, Mavs have been 16-4 by like pretty healthy margins. They could easily be 18-2, but they pretty much benched all their starters once they realized they could clinch the Southwest. Like, easy enough. Yeah, they dropped Detroit and they dropped Oklahoma City this past weekend. Whatever, nobody cares. Additionally, in the past, I want to say like the last third of the season, I'm going to pull up this stat here. Since March 7th, so about the same time period, Dallas currently has the NBA's best defensive rating, 107.2 points allowed per 100 possessions. And that's once the starting lineup was changed. 3, we have Luka and Kyrie specifically popping off right when they need to. I talked about this earlier, but Luka is actually the first Dallas Maverick to win the NBA scoring title.
Wow. He
scored overall 2,370, averaging 33.9 points per game, just rounded up. This is a record that has not been broken since 1983 with Mark Aguirre. I don't know.
Yep.
It's all right. Luka did it. Was listening to Colin Cowherd. Don't always listen to him, please. Sometimes he's just annoying. But sometimes he interviews people who are better than him. And the guy he was interviewing today was like, most people he was talking to said Dallas is easily the number 3 overall, simply because of how hot they are right now. This time last year, we were talking about almost how disastrous the Kyrie trade was, because I believe, and again, I got to go pull up these. Great podcasting tip: put all your articles in order. But they were 5-11 last year as a duo. Now I don't have the stats for this year, but they're much better this year. Part of that is Luka helping Kyrie kind of figure out how they sit together. Luka is better at his 3-pointers. I believe he's up to close to 40% from the 3-pointer. I think he was a little bit down closer to 30% this time last year. So he's going to beat you in a physical match. He can step back and shoot, and it's a lot more accurate this year. 2, Kyrie has figured out his rhythm and how he sits with the rhythm of the Mavs. And so he looks a little bit happier. He looks a little bit more content. Hopefully it's not going to look like what he was with the 2022. What was the last time he was in and did a bad thing? It's all right. I will pull up that article later. But yes, Celtics, one of the deepest teams right now. Nugs, just straight up talent-wise, maybe one of the best starting 5. If it is any year for the Mavs to hit it, it is right now, and it is in this specific time when they are as hot as they are. They are clearly on an uphill trajectory. So I don't see any reason why they can't capitalize on this. The issue has always been, does Luka have to take over all of the shooting? And we saw when he does that, Mavs lose. Now, it's pretty much him and Kyrie. Washington is still trying to figure out what he's doing. He's doing better, but the depth is just not there. It's getting there, but it's not 100%. So the question is going to be, can their streak basically overcome the depth of the other teams? That's what we're going to have to see.
Well, and I think it's interesting you bring up the point about defense, because that really has been kind of the main negative point against Dallas, at least in the last couple years.
Absolutely.
And maybe that's just a small sample size, and we'll get to the playoffs and we're like, hey, where'd their defense go? But maybe we won't. Maybe it'll be a thing where they're actually playing really good defense. And this has been an elite offense. They are third in the West in scoring. For right now, Luka, Kyrie seems to really be working. Their chemistry seems to be there. Am I reading too much into like Luka running from off the bench to help Kyrie up, like off the baseline? Maybe. But I think that's all a good sign. Like we've seen more, like when we're talking about super teams and we've seen Kyrie struggle, let's say, in other situations with other superstars, this doesn't seem to be that, at least. So I'm rooting for them. I don't know why I tend to root against the Clippers. They've never done anything wrong to me ever. But it's just funny, and I don't know why. Part of me feels bad, but part of me is like, this is objectively hilarious if the Clippers just melt down and playoff P hits the ball off the side of the backboard. I don't know why.
It's about him. Because Kawhi's hurt. Playoff P is going to be bad. Josh, but Kyrie's been quiet, man.
And that's been the thing.
That's been the thing. Season. That's why it's good. It's good. That's a good
and that's
sign.
what everyone has said. He is happier. It's because he is not tweeting the weird stuff he always tweeted. All right. We don't know what he was doing on the day of the eclipse. And it's okay.
Yeah. That's a great point.
You know,
that's a weird sentence to say in the past few years.
That's fine. Keep that to yourself, my friend.
Yeah, whatever they've been able to figure out here in Dallas, he is content.
Yeah.
And you can see that on the court.
Yeah. Is there any team, we talked a lot about the East playing teams. By the way, the East playing teams, for those that, depending on when you listen to this, it won't matter because you already know who's 7, who's 8. But if you're listening on YouTube or right when the podcast drops, here's the seeding for the play-in tournament. The Sixers, Heat, Chicago Bulls, Atlanta Hawks, in that order in the East. In the West, it's the New Orleans Pelicans, number 7. At 8, it's the Lakers. 9, it's the Kings. And 10, the Golden State Warriors. Of those 8 teams, and maybe we've already answered this question, but in case we haven't, I'll ask it. Is there a team that you could see making a run kind of like the Lakers did all the way to the Western Conference Finals last year as a play-in team? And by the way, the last 3 playoffs that the Lakers have been a part of, they have walked through this play-in tournament. But is there any team that jumps out to you guys? I'm going to stick with Philly just because I think they could win and I think they could beat New York. And then at that point, who knows? Maybe Giannis is out for the Bucks. I don't know. I'm going to say the Sixers, but I'm throwing a bunch of caveats in there.
If Monk wasn't hurt for the Kings, they would honestly be my pick.
Yeah.
But with him being hurt, I have a hard time saying it. I'll go with the Lakers. I'll stick with the Lakers.
Okay.
Just because now, if the Lakers beat, it's one of those weird things where if you're a Lakers fan, do you really want them to beat New Orleans so that they have to play Denver in the first round? So my caveat there, of course, is, and like Aaron said, by the time you listen to this, you may already know, if the Lakers are playing OKC, they would be my pick. Just because of the veteran experience going up against kids, they haven't been there before, who are terrible singers, by the way, too.
Oh, so that commercial.
If you watch March Madness, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Awful commercial. That was the worst one. So, well, I'll go with the Lakers.
All right. Well, that's kind of our NBA conversation. We'll run it back here in just a minute when we'll make some actual picks that we've definitely not spoiled, who we've got winning this. There is some news out of the NHL. It is worth noting that the NHL playoffs start this week. We'll talk about that a little bit next week. We'll make those picks. We're trying not to pick like 5 things at once. We're trying to spread it out a little bit here. But that starts next week. Josh, you mentioned the Stars. They've clinched the 1 seed I believe they're in the Central Division, so they've got a bunch of points. They're the 1 seed there. They were the 2 seed in that division last year. But there's, in addition to the playoffs, there's another piece of news, and it is that the Arizona Coyotes are officially moving to Utah.
Man.
So, as always, we always come back to the Columbus Crew and their move that thankfully was canceled, essentially. But I say that because we've been in a scenario where we thought a team was being ripped away from us, and I understand that's just a rough deal. And there's teams that have obviously fully experienced that. Looking at you, St. Louis fans, we know how well you support football, and you saw the Rams go to a place where no one cares about them, and that's the worst. When we're commissioner of all sports someday, we'll fix that. That being said, and I feel for the people because
just let the Chiefs, just let them take the Chiefs.
Yeah, there you go. That I wouldn't hate that.
They already got the dome right there. You want a new stadium? Here.
No rivalry there at all between St. Louis. That'd be hilarious.
No, not at all. That would be the smoothest. That would be the smoothest transition in the history of sports.
Yeah, no issues there. So I feel for Arizona fans because even though this has not been a well-supported team, number one, the product's just been terrible. So that's something to keep in mind. But I know there's many Arizona fans who are, yes, Utah's close-ish, but that's the difference between a team being in your backyard and being a 5-hour road trip, right? So I feel for those fans overall, and in terms of looking at it from the national perspective, I guess, if you will, from the NHL's perspective, I think this will be a good thing. I really think it will. They're moving to Salt Lake. So now the question really remains, what are we calling this team? The best team name I've heard is the Utah Storm and Mormons. I think we roll with that, but there's any number of options.
Are they going to be out of Salt Lake?
They are. Yep.
Okay.
So they could be called Salt Lake or Utah.
Right. Yeah.
You could probably call them either one, depending on your better name.
I've heard rumors that they will be called Utah, but for the purpose of this conversation, I don't care. Whatever we want.
Utah's easier than a two-word names are tough. Tampa Bay's been able to figure it out, but there's not a lot of instances like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a list of the Utah cryptids that are.
Oh, yes.
Remember when we did this with Ohio? So I'm just going to go through the cryptids,
Yes.
and we're going to see
Oh
here.
my gosh. I have a legitimate idea that I'm very serious about, but you go first, Josh.
Okay. This is according to KSL.com. I don't know what that means. Hopefully it's news. But here we go. The Utah monsters. We have the Bear Lake monster, reported to be, or monsters, reported in 1868, a strange serpent-like creature. Ooh, that's scary. Ooh, you know what? How about this one? The Skinwalkers. A malevolent, shape-shifting witch of the Navajo people, which the Ute people take very seriously. Here's the thing. I realize that we want like hockey, sports, fun for the family. You bring the kids. What if we went another way? What if we did like a full horror theme?
Okay.
And we put like some red in the ice, and you're like skating on blood. Like you just go full horror.
I feel like Utah and the Mormons are not going to go for that.
It's Salt Lake City. It's fine. How about this one? This one's unique. We want something different. We have the Salt Lake Cemetery. Has the gravestone of Lily E. Gray. Underneath her name reads the inscription, "Victim of the Beast 666."
Wow.
The Utah Beasts. We could do grave robber John Baptiste, arrested for robbing shoes, clothes, and personal items from
Salt Lake Jean Baptiste. Like, come on, man.
No. The Salt Lake grave robbers.
No, I do like John Baptiste is better.
And then John Baptiste is then
the mascot. Oh, okay. All right.
See, and that's cheap because you don't have to buy a thing for him. It's just a guy you dress up in old-timey clothes. Or because he stole like a bunch of clothes from graves, you just dress him up in different things each week.
Oh, there you go.
And that's fun. And then the fans vote.
That man really needed to rob those.
The fans vote on what he wears.
Have clothes. That's all he was taking. Gosh,
that's good.
All right, my idea is that they should, because I'm a sucker for alliteration, they should be called the Utah Unicorns. But the Unicorns is not. Don't think like a pony and rainbow. The unicorns of the sea, narwhals.
A narwhal.
So, but for alliteration's sake, you have to call them unicorns. But their mascot will be a narwhal. Their horns can pierce the sky. They will be ready to go.
Johnny,
Does
I love this.
Utah border any ocean? No.
I was about to ask you. I'm like, you're the geography guy.
care.
You realize that Salt Lake is more of a. It's not. It's
Doesn't
less
matter.
literal now.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Does not matter. They got this. I'm all about this. Somebody maybe can come up with a better idea. I think I've had the best one so far.
That's pretty good. I really can't.
I think hockey
top that.
mascots should all have to do with something cold or the sea.
Sure. Like
And I'm a
Vancouver
Blue Jackets
Canucks,
fan,
Seattle
so.
Kraken. Granted, I'm just listing Pacific Northwest teams, but yeah, I'm with you. I'm good. Listeners, if you
Could we
have
do the
ideas,
Utah-
hit us up. Let us know.
Could we do the Utah Kraken too?
Oh,
Is there a fish that starts with the letter U? Or I guess it could be
I'll
Salt
get our
Lake
research
something.
department on that.
Is there a mineral in the Salt Lake that starts with an S? Other than salt, obviously, you
All
cannot
right.
just call it the Salt Lake Salts, although that's not bad either.
That's
All right.
actually pretty good.
We
The
got
Salt Lake Salts.
That's giving Long Beach State beach vibes. Oh, I love it.
Oh,
Yes.
actually, we got the brown trout, the largemouth bass, the bluegill, the tiger trout, the black crappie, the grass carp,
Josh, are you going in alphabetical order? Because
The
we just
Utah-
need U's.
the Utah chub. That's all we got.
That's great.
Wait, hold on. We're gonna look at this Utah chub. Come on, buddy.
Tom
Now,
Chubbs.
I'm seeing something from the Utah Mining Association that says that they are a known resource
Oh.
of uranium. So the Utah uranium.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay, you know what? I like this.
I
I
kinda like it.
this direction. We're so ooh. This is good.
And you can go a variety of directions with the mascot. You can make it like a little dude mining, or you can make it some guy in a hazmat suit.
No, keep
hazmat suit.
no, here we go. Now I realize this is going to be more expensive, and I know they're probably not motivated to drop money down. Could you just keep Killian Murphy on retainer and have him do like
excellent.
like the
Yes.
Oppenheimer at every home game?
Yes.
Outstanding idea, Josh. Well, it's actually the owners of the Jazz buying the team.
Oh,
So they're not just relocating, they're being purchased.
purchased. Okay.
Which also, like, again, sorry, Coyotes fans, like,
Man, I feel so bad.
I
They had
do
a
feel
really good
bad for you.
logo.
but you're
I
also
saw-
like, they've had terrible ownership, and
Yeah.
the Jazz ownership has been like solid.
Been good.
Like, the Jazz have not been a laughing stock really at any point in time in recent memory. Decent owners. It always kind of makes sense to partner a hockey and basketball team together, really, anyway. So they won't even have to hypothetically build an arena anytime soon. They'll just have to
Yeah.
probably do some updates, but I'm sure they already have like Disney on Ice and whatever,
Oh yeah.
wherever Utah plays. I don't know the name of their arena. So yeah, it's a rare situation. I'm with Aaron that the relocation, I kind
I
of
understand
get and
way
have a
more.
hard- I have a really hard time actually arguing against it. Also because, like, I'm sorry, Arizona, like, you don't want it.
Right.
Like, the Coyotes have
exactly.
offered a lot of situations of building arenas, and you keep saying no. At least through your government officials, you keep saying no. So, and I don't blame them for saying no either. So,
Yeah.
this is one of those things where it sucks. It's probably for the best overall.
Yeah.
So,
I'm with you guys.
I am sorry.
Yes.
The A's, that's stupid. But we
That's-
won't get
that's
into that.
Nope.
Yeah. All right, let's make some picks.
Let's pick them.
Yay.
All right, we're taking a step back to where we started the show, NBA playoffs. We're going to do two picks. The first is we're going to actually give you the winner of the NBA finals, but because that's not going to happen in June until we're into season 2, we do need to make something so that in the final few weeks of season 1, with the footlong cookie up for grabs, we can, some of us, myself and Josh, can actually try to make some progress to catching up to Johnny, because he still remains in the lead. He's got 11 points. I've got 8 points. Josh has 7. I did pick up a point this week. Scotty Scheffler wins his second green jacket. It looked for a minute there that we were going to have all kinds of drama on Sunday. I think going into the 7th hole, there were 4 tied for the lead, and then you had a couple of those players double bogey, and then Scotty Scheffler just took over and did not look back. So he wins, and I'm not going to say dominating fashion, but he really was at the top of the leaderboard for pretty much all 4 days. So good for him. He's only 27 still, so he's got lots of good golf in his future. So that's the Masters. That was a lot of fun this week as well. So I'll start, and I've got the Celtics beating the Nuggets. I was kind of debating on which way I wanted to go with this. These are I would love to sit here and tell you, oh, I think the Nuggets are going to make some, or I don't know, the Timberwolves are going to make some crazy run, or the Orlando Magic are going to wow everybody, and like I just don't see it. I'm sorry, I just don't see it. The Celtics, like I said, they're too much depth, too much experience, too much everything. Obviously, injuries are a thing that's unpredictable. You can't really predict it, but as it sits right now, I like the Celtics team a lot. They were the number one overall seed in this tournament, in the playoffs, in the league this year for a reason. I think they're going to get it done. I've got the Celtics. I'll say in 6. I'll get super specific. I'm going to say they beat the Nuggets in 6.
I have to, must, as an obligation, pick the Mavs. And
I love
I
it.
just finished eating Raising Cane's as we were starting the
Ooh.
podcast. So I'm, chicken's on the mind.
Yep.
So I'm going Mavs over Nugs. I think if it's any year, it's going to be this year. So we're going for it.
Now, I would
Is the depth
probably
there?
suggest you
Absolutely
pick an
not.
Eastern
Nuts.
Conference team to face them at some point. But
No, I refuse.
okay.
I also realized
It's a good
Josh,
second
what
round
Josh is saying
matchup.
is the Western Conference
Hey.
Championship is the
Hey,
finals.
An
Here's what I
asteroid hits
realized.
the
Here's what I
eastern
realized.
portion of the United States.
I made a little bit of a mistake and I forgot. And this is actually one thing I appreciate about the NBA is how clear they are on which teams are East and which teams are West. Like there's a pretty clear
Yeah,
line.
that's true. Yeah.
So I'm going to do a quick reset.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Johnny, go
This
ahead.
will not
While
make it
Josh is
into the
resetting,
podcast.
Johnny, go ahead.
Aaron said Celtics Nugs. I just opposed to everything I said earlier. I would not be shocked if one of these teams get knocked out because that's how the playoffs typically work. Since the Warriors and Cavs had those 3 finals in a row, usually we don't get, I know the Nuggets are technically the 2 seed, but in everybody's mind, they're the 1. The Celtics are the actual 1. We don't typically get both teams making it all the way through. There oftentimes is some sort of injury. There's a surprise team. I'm with Aaron. I have such a hard time barring injury, and both these teams, if it's, I don't know how to say the right injury, but the right injury could even still overcome and get to the finals. Maybe not win it, but get there. They have that depth, and the Nuggets just have such an outstanding 5, and they have youth behind that too, who can really just eat up some minutes. So I do have the Nuggets and Celtics. I have the Nuggets beating the Celtics, though, opposed to Aaron there. While a Porzingis Jokic battle down low sounds fun, I still think Jokic would end up dominating that.
Yeah.
They
didn't end up putting Horford on Jokic.
Offensively, that just sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, it does.
It just sounds fun seeing that kind of matchup in the paint between those two guys, just threading the needle with their passes. But I'll go with the Nuggets over the Celtics, and I'll say in 6, just like Aaron. But I believe in the Nuggets. I think they're the new San Antonio Spurs. They're just kind of there's not a lot of flash to them. Jokic is very unassuming. He'd rather be with his horses than playing basketball. He'll be upset that I have them in the finals and winning it all because he'd rather get home a little sooner. But I'm sorry, Nikola, you're going to have to be here a couple more months, buddy. You're going to be winning the finals. And then did we pick the play-in game?
We have not yet. We'll throw it to Josh if he's got an Eastern Conference team. And then we'll pick a play-in game.
After much reflection, after much soul searching, after looking at a map, I have come to the conclusion.
Okay.
It's the Cavs. The Cavs. My Cavs, Josh. That's who you have, right?
It's the Cavs. It's the Cavs over the Nuggets. Yes, you got me. No, I'm going to take Mavs over Boston because that is an Eastern Conference team.
There you go.
I love the homerism too, Josh. I respect that.
I do.
Really
I
wanted to
respect
put
it a lot.
I really wanted to put the Cavs in the finals, but they have been limping the last
not,
month,
man.
and that would just be throwing a point
They
away.
threw away a chance for a 2 seed. It's
They
hard.
should
Oh my
be the 2
gosh.
seed right
Yeah.
now. They blew it.
And now they might play.
So
If
I
they
don't know. I was gonna-
win this
they were gonna
series,
be
they
my
have to play
dark horse,
Boston.
but I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, it changes everything.
I know.
Like they should be playing the like Bulls or Hawks in the first round,
Right?
and now you
And,
have
like-
to play. And
Like
what,
Orlando? Yeah.
there's no guarantee, or there's not even remotely a guarantee that they get out of the first round and beat
No,
Orlando.
not at all.
Not
I have
even
no
close.
clue. Yeah,
I actually would probably
it's-
pick Orlando if I was being honest with myself.
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry, didn't mean to go on
No.
a tirade.
Well,
there.
we did
Stupid
need to mention
Cavs.
that. We talked about Josh's team. We did need to bring up the Cavaliers. We will not be bringing up the Detroit Pistons. They are dead. Thank goodness.
But
Better
are
luck
they
next year.
the most dead? I forget.
Did they?
Did them or
'Cause
the
here's
Wizards
thing.
Oh no, they were worse. I'm
Finished
pretty
worse.
sure. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh,
At least they kept it.
see, this is why we need relegation.
They
I
and the-
would have been
Oh.
just all locked in on who was finishing worst
yeah.
if we had relegation. We need relegation.
Where do you send them? To the G League? Is that where we're sending them?
College?
Oh, Johnny, we've had this conversation.
Yeah, but the Pistons though, like I know North Carolina is not making the playoffs. We talked about that, Josh. That was an astute
Yeah,
point.
that-
The Pistons might actually struggle in college basketball. I mean,
Or maybe they just have
14
to
and
fly to Europe.
68.
We make them travel to Europe.
Do you
Your
guys know how
punishment is
many-
partially
Oh,
the amount of
European
flight?
League
Euro
gang.
League.
There we go.
Your punishment is the amount of flight miles you have to put in.
Mm.
Have fun playing in crowds in Serbia with flares indoors.
Yeah,
Don't jokes out, man, dude. If I could go to like,
Serbia
No,
might
don't tempt
declare
me.
war if we do that. to them.
I'll listen. If we're like playing for like the Croat, yeah. If I like get relegated to the Croatian team, I'm sorry, I'm gonna throw that game. I'm gonna go.
Mm.
It's just cheaper Italy. It's beautiful. It's
Those
perfect.
fans are awesome in those Euro games.
Mm-hmm.
I've got bad trivia for you. Do you guys know how many games the Detroit Lions won this year?
They win 12.
They won 12. I think if you add playoffs, they won 14 games. Bad trivia. Do you guys want to know how
Oh,
many
okay.
games the Detroit Pistons won this year in
I was-
68 more tries?
Did they win 11?
No, they
No.
also won
19.
14 games. Lions and
What?
Pistons, same number of wins.
Oh,
14.
Bad, terrible.
How many did the Wizards win?
15. Good job, Washington.
See, I would have been locked
Or the
in
champagne.
that relegation battle.
Yeah, I agree.
They were both adrift,
Oh,
if we're being honest. But my
adrift.
goodness.
man.
But the
Thank
Wizards did
goodness.
that to themselves. That's the most wizarding team ever.
Yeah, true.
When they put that team together, I'm like, yes, the players on this team are wizards.
Yeah.
And if you've watched the NBA for any length of time, you know exactly what I mean.
Oh yeah.
Total empty calorie players.
Yeah.
Total empty calorie.
The most
Class
Wizards
cannons.
team that has ever wizarded.
Absolutely.
You know what? I woke up this morning because the Pistons season was done and the sun was shining and society was healed because the Pistons were not playing basketball.
Wingstop saved so much money this year.
Oh my.
So much. So
Wingstop.
much.
Whoever suggested that promo just got a yacht. Like
Mhm.
they saved so much money and they got free publicity. That is the
Oh my
best. That was the
goodness.
best case scenario. That was the best press they possibly could have gotten.
Yeah, it surely was. All right, we do need to make one more pick before we go to pick what we're following, whatever it's called.
What we're picking.
We are
follow.
picking the Lakers Pelicans play-in game. Now, this is again, Johnny, you mentioned it. This is a little tricky because the winner becomes the 7th seed and faces the Nuggets. Between the Nuggets and the other team you could face, the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think everyone would pick the Thunder. But by losing this game, you are then putting yourself in essentially a game 7 where you lose again, you're done. So I saw Stephen A. Smith. They were kicking around the question, "Oh, did the Lakers try to lose?" No, get out of here. I
You
mean,
can't.
it's like
That's not
I
how
get,
it
I
works.
understand why the conversation or why the questions being brought forth.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It gets clicks. I totally get it. You're trying
Who
to
would
win
you
this
rather
game.
face?
You're trying to win this
Yeah.
game. I understand you don't want to play the Nuggets, but the Lakers are getting the job done here. I think they're going to find a way, even though they are on the road in New Orleans. I think Anthony Davis is going to be healthy-ish for this game. He exited their last game with some back spasms. The Lakers, at least said publicly that they think he's going to be fine. It was just kind of minor, maybe precautionary even. But anyways, I think they're going to get it done. The Lakers have been in this situation a lot, and every time they've been here, they get the job done. So give me LeBron in age 47, however old he is. Give me LeBron in this one game. They're going to get it done.
Listen, he's from Ohio. I'm from Ohio. Lakers.
Yep.
I'm just curious who the better singer is between LeBron and Nikola Jokic, because I mean, yeah, Lakers are winning this game. Lakers are winning the game. I understand the conversation too. If they, in a perfect world, if the Lakers could pick their opponent, they would pick OKC.
Yeah.
But you can't, that's not how competitors function. Hey, let's lose this one on purpose. So like, even like then, what are you going to tell your bench warmers that don't play a lot? Hey, don't try. It's just not like, that's a very dangerous game. No team would ever do that. Also, you're putting like, there's no guarantee that the Lakers beat Sacramento or Golden State in the next game. So you'd all of a sudden be putting your whole season in jeopardy in a one-off game. You could have a terrible shooting night out of nowhere. You can't risk that. Lakers win. It's not a good matchup for the Pelicans. Pelicans did a good job getting the 7 seed, but I actually think that they're very at risk of not even making out of the play-in games, just because, I mean, the West is brutal.
That's crazy.
The fact that the Warriors are 10th, and I know it's a shell of themselves, but still, in the East, they'd be like 6th.
Yeah, I think they would have been. I'll double check that, but I'm almost positive they would have been safe. Yeah, the Warriors were 46 and 36. The Indiana Pacers were 47 and 35. So the Warriors would have been the 7 seed in the 8 seed, I guess. The 8 seed, but that's not even counting, like, they kind of knew their fate too, so you're probably trying a little bit hard. Anyways, yeah.
That's why I see more carnage potentially in the West, because of the depth.
Yep.
The depth is crazy. Chicago and Atlanta, Miami, Philly, they're not winning multiple series. It's just not happening. They're not capable. Lakers are capable. I think the Pelicans are capable of knocking someone off. Kings. Heck, even the Warriors could summon something.
Yeah.
Given the opportunity. Who knows? Like, would anybody be? That would be the most shocking thing even of the year? No. But anyway, Lakers.
Yep. Josh, are you going to complete the? Oh, you already said. You said Lakers because Ohio. That's right.
I'll say Lakers again. Make it 4. Congratulations, New Orleans. What a fantastic. They're going to make a 30 for 30 on this run.
Yes.
For sure.
Congratulations to the Bulls, Hawks, Kings, and Warriors. You are in the playoffs.
Well done.
Against all odds. Jeremy Green just turned his life around. I saw that tweet. He's never going to commit another foul again.
Good for him.
Good for him. Really proud of him.
All right. So we actually never properly eulogized our favorite football team. If you are a longtime listener of this podcast, you know that you are actually legally obligated to root for the New Orleans Breakers. The problem is that the league that the New Orleans Breakers played in does not exist or merged with another league. And the New Orleans Breakers themselves, they are dead. So we now have to find a new podcast team in the UFL. It's happening right now. I don't think anyone really cares, but there's 7 teams. It is a combination from the USFL and the XFL, and it's called the United Football League. It's happening right now. We are 3 weeks in. I've got the teams in front of me. I've got standings. We're cheating a little bit. Last time we picked a team, we did it blindly, and we did it arbitrary and capricious. This one, we've actually got a little bit of bias. Like, do we really want to pick the 0-3 Arlington Renegades, even though they're next to Josh? Maybe we do. Maybe we do.
Their tickets are real cheap. They play at a Choctaw Stadium. I get Twitter ads for them every single gosh darn day.
All right. Well,
they're desperate for my business.
Okay. The other teams are the St. Louis Battlehawks, the San Antonio Brahmas, the DC Defenders, and the Arlington Renegades. And then in the other conference, which I don't actually know how these are broken up, it doesn't matter. Birmingham Stallions, Michigan Panthers, Memphis Showboats, and the Houston Roughnecks. Josh, I'm open to the Arlington Renegades as the podcast team. I'm also open to the St. Louis Battlehawks because their fans are actually kind of insane.
My
They
so
love
here's
that
the
team.
thing. My parents go to Battlehawk games.
Oh, nice.
Battlehawks games, and my mom was just awestruck by the fact that they all just wings outstretched, just cacaw the entire game.
Now, see, that's
So,
something I can get behind right there.
That's something I can get
I'm
behind.
good with that team.
I'm
All right.
totally
They deserve
good.
our cheering.
Hold on, I'm going to Twitter now. I am
Excellent.
going to follow them.
Yep. You've heard it. All right. Podcast listeners, if you had a UFL team you're rooting for, tough. You're now legally obligated to root for the St. Louis Battlehawks, who are 2-1 this year. They are a perfect 2-0 in conference and will follow their season probably from a very far distance, but we'll follow it.
Yeah. Hey,
one other.
It's Victory Monday, so
Oh,
that's their pinned tweet.
awesome.
Victory Monday.
No one see the Pistons season ended and it's all coming together. It's all coming together. One other
Josh,
question
would
for you
like
guys.
me to go? Oh, go ahead. Aaron.
Real quick. Someone on Twitter posted a very good question. MR Carter 233 on Instagram, actually. He asked, could you win the Masters if you got to start on the green? You are starting from the furthest possible place on the green, but like all the other Masters, they're teeing off, they're doing the normal thing. You get the ball right at the the back of the green. Could you win it? And I can say with
No.
certainty, no chance.
Not even close.
No.
I'd get killed.
Yep.
Do you know
Still.
how powerful Tiger Woods is now? He is shaking hands with trees.
True.
I do not. I cannot
Yep.
even
Great
hope to
point.
compete.
Great point.
No, but nobody. TV doesn't do golf justice when it comes to the green and putting, and that's not like the camera's fault. But the camera would literally have to go level with the ground to show you, like properly show you. Like, I'm not even a big golfer, but just go stand on a putting green, like a difficult one. The amount of ebbs and flows, not a chance. I'd still hit it in the water somehow. I don't even know how. I'd hit it in the water with my putter. Like, yeah, not a chance.
I'm hitting every single person in the face with a ball every single time.
Yes.
Yeah. The way they especially on the 18th, it's pretty narrow right there. There's just Johnny, you brought up a great point on Twitter. And I'm the same way, if I aim for the people, that actually keeps them incredibly safe.
Mhm.
Yeah, much safer. Given that's a large crowd of people, so that there's some risk there, but
Yeah.
they're safer.
Yep.
Josh, I was going to go since yours is a lot more fun than mine and not necessarily
Yes.
sports related. All right. So honestly, what we're following should just be like Johnny's soccer talk, because that's basically what it has been the last 2 months. And we've been following the Premier League race, which had a sad twist this weekend for me, but that's not what we're talking about this time. We're talking about Bayern Leverkusen. You're like, okay, what words are that? What language are those? Yes, this is Bundesliga, which is German soccer, top division. If you're not familiar with international soccer, like a ton, that's okay. Welcome. We welcome you. In the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich has won the last 11 titles until this year. Bayern Leverkusen has won the Bundesliga crown this year with 6 games still to go. So again, if you're not familiar, they don't play like a tournament at the end of the season. It is literally you play home and away against every single team in your division. So it's really a very proper way of crowning a champion if you want the best team that year. There's not any strength of schedule. There's no metrics like that. They dominated. This is their first title ever as a club. This club has existed since 1904. It's their first title. Just have to feel awesome for them. I can't imagine what that would feel like. Look up some of the photos online or on Twitter. The fans stormed the field before extra time was over. They're all so excited and happy. They're storming the field. Not only that, though, with Bayern Leverkusen, taking down Bayern Munich, the Giants, poor Harry Kane, he'll never win any trophies. Leverkusen hasn't lost a game this year. not lost. No, they've drawn only 4. They have not lost in any competition yet. Not one. So we're not just talking Bundesliga games. They're playing in the Europa League, which is just a tier down from Champions League. They have gone 43 matches unbeaten. So in soccer, we like to call that the Invincibles. That's the named after the Arsenal team who has done it in the past. So that is just so fascinating to also watch as they finish the year. You're like, oh, okay, they won the league. Big deal. I mean, to see if they can finish the treble and winning the rest of their cups and finish the season unbeaten will also be just remarkable. And their manager, who's been there a little over a year, Xavi Alonso, he turned down, at least reportedly, taking over for Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool after this season. So he's sticking around for another year too. So it'll be fascinating. Just a really cool story. A lot of those soccer stories coming in as we're finishing up those seasons before our summer of soccer. So really cool. Just absolutely remarkable accomplishment. Happy for those fans.
So what you're telling me is that will be a future opponent for the Crew in the Club World Cup.
Potentially. Like actually potentially.
Yeah, I say that half jokingly, half serious.
If the Crew can do their part, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I got like just little things to follow, and it's super fun, like lighthearted, good stuff. This is breaking news as of 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
With the 5th pick in the WNBA draft.
Oh, yeah.
The Dallas Wings just selected J.C. Sheldon.
Let's
from
go.
Ohio State women's basketball.
Woo.
So very
Yep.
excited to have some hometown vibes down here.
Josh,
Yes.
who was picked first?
You know what? I think you know.
As we've, speaking of Colin Cowherd, he said, as I've been exclusively reporting for the last 2 months, Caitlin Clark goes first. Good one, Colin.
As the ticket reps of the Indiana Fever have been exclusively reporting for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Generational. Welcome to basketball country, Caitlin Clark. That's what the Fever said in this clearly pre-made infographic that has probably took about, I don't know, I'd say about a year and a half to make. There it is.
I'm happy that like she ended up where she ended up though. Like legitimately though. Like geographically, very happy she's not in LA or New York
still
or
in
Chicago.
the Midwest. Exactly.
Yeah, I love it.
Can still celebrate a Culver's like a true Midwesterner.
Yes.
By the way, real quick, going back to a previous topic before Josh, you talk about what you're following. We have a YouTube viewer who says, got to rename the Utah hockey team to the Utah Ice Bisons, which that's great. That's very good. Excellent.
That's up there.
Yep.
Yeah, it's got to be Utah because you can't do Salt Lake.
You could.
Ice. Yeah, it's too
And then
it's too many. It's a lot of words.
That's all right.
Yeah.
You still have the Vegas Golden Knights. That's pretty darn long. The Salt Lake Ice Bisons, SLIB.
I feel like everybody just abbreviates Las Vegas to Vegas, though. I don't think you're going to abbreviate Salt Lake to Lake. It's the Lake Ice Bisons.
It's the Lake Bison. It's the Lake Bison.
It's not very specific. What lake?
Oh, you know.
Any lake. All of them. It's
Every lake. Take that, Minnesota. Utah owns your lakes.
And they're now invested with bison.
We are so sorry about that. They don't know how to swim. Got updates on a vending machine, guys.
Ooh.
Oh.
I got the Vendo multi-price round, which is perfect.
Okay.
That's its real, honest to goodness Christian name, the Vendo multi-price. So
Excellent.
now, before I tell you what the price is, we need to spec it out. All right, this is the most basic bare bones. Like we want vintage.
Is this
so, like,
brand new or used, Josh?
Has to be brand new. All the used ones were out of our price range and kind of like new looking.
I just want the one from summer camp.
Right. Yes,
but
we can do some.
There.
We can break it in.
No, we can. This is bare bones. It's a bunch of buttons. It's like those big rectangular buttons on the side, and we get a choice of the graphics. Do you want the American flag? Do you want that generic like cold drinks graphic in front of like, I don't know, like bubbling water? Do you want a
Star Wars
waterfall?
Episode 1, Anakin in a pod racer. That's the graphic I want.
That's I get American flag, cold drinks bubble, waterfall, or aquarium. That one
Aquarium?
scene from Aquarium.
Have you ever in your life seen a
Aquariums.
vending machine with an aquarium design?
Nobody picks that option.
No.
Okay, so that's what we're doing.
Okay.
But yeah, I want
Yes.
that. Right, exactly.
Aquarium, yep. It looks
Wait,
like a
did
window
anybody
screensaver.
understand my reference though? That the vending machines used to have the Phantom Menace, like when they used to literally advertise basically
Oh.
new movies on those vending machines. It's
I-
okay. You don't need to look
Yeah,
it
I
up.
blocked that
It's
part out
Too
of,
late.
of my
Did.
memory,
That's kind
apparently.
of fun. Yeah, that's for Pepsi.
It was
though. We're
literally
not
at the
doing Pepsi.
zoo one year as a kid. It was awesome. Anyway,
All right, back to the Vendo. Do we want to have a credit card reader, or do we want to just go classic?
No, cash only, preferably.
cash only.
yeah. Actually, not
None?
even cash. Coins only.
Yeah.
Coins.
Perfect.
We'll
Takes-
we'll destroy the dollar bill reader.
Yes.
So we have to have at least a standard $1 acceptor, but we can tape that over. It's free.
Yeah.
It's not extra.
We can break it.
Coin acceptor, we're going to do standard 3-tube because we're just doing quarters. I'm assuming nickels, dimes, quarters.
We're not doing 65 cents.
Do you want
Can
to?
we set it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can set
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is
I
the
want
one thing. This is the
65
one thing
cents.
about. This is the nice thing about the Vendo multi-price. Let me tell you. Brand new graphics, side decals, new buttons, new coin overlay, freshly painted, and more. This machine is dressed to impress. The Vendo multi-price drink machine is a 12-ounce can and 16.9-ounce and 20-ounce bottle dispenser. Its selections can be individually priced. So if we want.
Oh.
We can set a few things to 65 cents. We could set something to $65, coins only, if we want.
And we can make one thing free.
And one thing can be free.
Mm.
And we can change that every day
Oh,
if we want.
oh, that's so
Awesome.
good.
Perfect.
All right.
Oh.
So we're going with the standard coin acceptor. Do we want to upgrade? Do we want a new refrigeration unit? This is a used model.
No.
Mm.
No, we just
No.
we just saved $600. And do we want a warranty? We get a standard 30-day warranty. We can do a 2-year or a 4-year parts and labor.
We don't need a warranty.
Yeah,
We'll
no.
fix it ourselves.
We fix it ourselves. Perfect. I think this is doable. It's $26.95. $2,000.
$26?
$2,695.
Oh.
That's doable.
Or if we get accepted for the loan,
That's actually not as bad as I thought.
for the payment plan, it could be $67 a month.
Make it
What?
69 and
No.
I'm interested.
I'll ask.
Okay. Thank you.
So that's the
actually doable.
isn't that it's not bad, especially when we do all
doable.
the repairs ourselves.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's going to be in Salt Lake. So
We're also gonna have to stock it ourselves too. So
I'll pay a kid to do it. It's fine.
pay a kid.
I just watched National Treasure again. Like, you know how they paid the kid $1 piece to like do the silence do good letters? Like
Yeah, they totally ripped that kid off.
that
Yeah.
kid got ripped off.
Yeah.
Of course, it was a what, 2004? Like that was a dollar. You know what you could get for $1 back in 2004?
King at McDonald's.
Anything at
King.
McDonald's. Anything at McDonald's. Anyway, we're gonna get
Except
upset
ice
at
cream.
ourselves. Except ice cream. Still broken back then. Speaking of
Mm.
food, what a great segue into Twitter. It's also known as another name. I don't care. We're not using that name.
Yep.
Nobody does.
It's a letter. How dare you? Elon's new Twitter has been interesting, to say the least. He cut like 75 to 80% of the staff, which is a fun thing to do. And now, since you can pay for that cool blue check mark, and the verification process is now just who wants to give me $8, people are creating bots, and these bots are posting, and these bots are posting, and then these other bots are responding to the posts, and we're having dead internet theory all over. But as the last dying breath of the internet gets extinguished over the next year or two, as it just becomes a bunch of bots responding to other bots responding to AI images, some of the advertising has been interesting. I get really random ads on Twitter, but specifically, me and a few other followers, or a few other users, have been getting ads for just food, just random food. No link, no discount code. It's an AI generated image. of a food, and then an AI generated this. So here are some of the ones I found. Layers of tender pasta sheets, rich tomato sauce, creamy bechamel, and indulgent melted cheese harmonize in a sumptuous symphony of flavor and texture, creating a decadent Italian classic that promises to tantalize your taste buds with each luxurious bite. And then it's just a picture of lasagna. That is the entire ad I got.
Wow.
Two, this one is another user found that got suggested to them. Again, just a random user ad: crispy fried chicken, juicy meat, seasoned crust, savory satisfaction, and irresistible crunch. A comforting classic that leaves you craving more. Just advertising you chicken. We got one for a hamburger. Indulge in juicy, flavorful burgers that will make your taste buds dance with delight. A perfect meal for any occasion. It's literally just telling you, go eat a burger.
Wow.
Josh, I already ate dinner. You're making me starving again.
Enjoy fluffy
second
pancakes
dinner.
stacked high and drizzled with syrup for a deliciously comforting breakfast treat. And then this is just a stock photo of pancakes. Sometimes the ads have been a little bit weirder. This one here just says green tea, and it's an AI generated picture of green tea.
That's so
And finally,
weird.
this promoted post by a guy named Joshua Martinez. News. That's it.
Good one.
That's
So I don't
cool.
know what the bots are doing. I don't know what the bots are planning.
What
But
they're planning. What they're plotting, you
what they're
mean?
plotting. The real answer is that what is most likely happening is these guys are sending out like bots to do like test ads to see what the limits are for like the auto detection. And once that happens, then they'll start sending like even worse ads. But for now, it's pretty benign. But as the internet grows colder and colder and more AI generated images pop up, I'll at least enjoy the ride down.
Yeah.
My call to action today:
Oh, yes.
indulge in juicy, flavorful burgers. A perfect meal for any occasion. Or pancakes, or fried chicken, or lasagna, or green tea. Whatever you want. Just
Hey, I'm getting canes tomorrow. So,
get canes tomorrow.
yeah.
Go buy
That's-
something out of a vending machine.
Oh, there you
Or
go.
go buy with coins
Keep them
only.
in business.
Yes.
Go to a bank.
Yeah,
ask
coins only.
$20 in quarters or whatever they come in the rolls.
Yep.
Don't exchange like a $20 bill for it. Just ask for $20 in quarters and see what. They'll give it to you. They're fine.
Yeah.
They're good for it. They're insured $125,000. It's
Yep.
fine.
What's 20 to them?
What's
Especially when they know it's going to a good cause. You know?
Especially when you say, "Don't worry, I'm going to a vending machine."
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Let us know what you find. If you get any surprises in the vending machine, let us know.
Ooh.
We are rooting for you. You can do it. We believe in you. All right, listeners, thanks for joining us this week. As always, we appreciate you checking out the podcast. We appreciate your support. We're on basically every social media account. I'll give that a shout out. We're on YouTube. The NFL draft is coming up pretty quick here, so we'll also be covering that in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for more information on that. But until then, enjoy whatever you're getting into this week. Vending machines, NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. Who knows? Enjoy it. We'll talk to you next week.
I really want a mug root beer right now.
Dude, oh my
Dude.
gosh.
Because that's what it was. It was mug root beer.
Mug root beer.
Exactly right.
The best root beer.
Yeah. YouTube, thanks for
I
hanging out
swear
with us
one
tonight.
time
I appreciate it.
I asked for a code red and it didn't even give me something else.